The publishing copyright. This is the songwriting, the blueprint, the chords, the lyrics, the beat, the arrangement, the DNA of the track, owned by the writers unless signed away, right? Shared by producers, co-writers, and publishing companies, okay? So, for example, on the publishing side, you would receive streaming physical product mechanicals from like Spotify and Apple on the streaming side, and vinyl on the physical side, and things like that. That's kind of coming up again a little bit. And you would also receive synchronization, publishing from synchronization licensing, which come from film and TV, all right? So, I mean, maybe y'all don't really understand the whole thing of what I'm saying, so I'm going to just give like a light example, right, of how this would work, right? So, this is a client that I consult for the past somewhat years. Me and another guy was working with them. And they get a lot of licensing. They've been probably licensed 200 times between documentaries, mostly in rap songs. Currently, right now, this composition is being used in the new Cardi B song called Outside, which is doing real well. So let me just give you an example, right? So this is a group called the Showboys and Profile Records. They were released in like 1985. They did a song called Drag Rap, aka Trigger Man, right? This song has like, this song probably uses like, there's probably like 5-6 different elements that are used into songs. Besides that, what you just heard, people sample the drums and a couple of other elements from this composition. So what had to happen, for example, is that Cardi B's label, Atlantic Records, had to reach out to their record company, right, which is Sony on the master side, on the sound recording side, Sony Music, and they had to reach out to the Showboys publisher, which is Universal Publishing, right? So they would have two different licenses, two different requests to license, right? One's going to Universal, one is going to Sony Music, like I said, and they're asking to use the elements of that song into the Cardi B record per se, right? And it would come with a certain amount of money. On the publisher side, there would be something called a sample quote, and they would ask for, you know, would you accept 50% of the record per se, or something like that. On the sound recording side, they're negotiating a royalty, all right, on the sound recording side. So obviously both sides have been accepted, and these guys will receive, as the Cardi B record goes on, they will start receiving money into their ASCAP writer account and money into their ASCAP publisher account, right, which is collected by Universal Publishing on the publisher account. So Universal Publishing will be collecting money on behalf of their publishing, and the mechanicals, which is the sales and streaming and stuff like that, that would all be collected by Universal, right? And they would receive a royalty biannually off the Cardi B record. The ASCAP writer portion will go directly to them because it's under their government name. On the sound recording side, Sony would collect, you know, some money from negotiated sales, right? And whatever, they negotiated, and that would be split between Sony Records and the Showboys. Depending on, the Showboys would receive whatever their point structure was from what they signed years ago. You know what I'm saying? So if they signed 10%, they would get 10% of whatever came in on the master side. If they signed for 50%, then they would get 50%, you know, per se. All right? So that's what goes on in that. So that's how the licenses work on the publishing end. All right? So next time you drop a song, ask yourself, do I own the music, or am I just renting the room, all right? Copyright is the law, right? So understanding the two-part system, the masters and the publishing, can keep you from getting robbed, right? If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll break it down further in another video, all right? Well, one more thing. They don't always get accepted. the license request. I had King Combs, Puffy's son, trying to use a DMX record, and we have like some rights on some producers that we help out some producers and stuff like that that work with DMX. King Combs was trying to use a song of DMX's and interpolate it and put it into a new composition that he was doing maybe like 2-3 months ago, and all parties in the email were turning them down. All right, Universal Music Publishing, whoever, they were just turning them down. They didn't want him to use the record. I guess if his father wasn't in so much stuff, they would have let him use the record. But everybody was just going against him. I mean, he has nothing to do with anything, but they weren't letting him use the record, and they were emailing me, telling me not to approve it also. So I mean, I guess it just goes like that. That's the first time I've ever been through that, but it's kind of spooky, but it can get like that.